cool lives and creativity thrives. It's the I'm Me podcast, your front row pass to independent music, movies, and unforgettable moments. Hosted by the man who loves to keep it fresh, Dave.
Yes, it is me. It is Dave and Olivia. And
Hello.
every time I hear that word fresh, I know you can't see because it's audio, but I want to stand up wearing like a really long coat and go like, word to your mother, father, whatever the fuck that was back in the 80s, man. I don't remember anymore. But I'd like to welcome you to IMME, Independent Music, Movies, and Entertainment. I'm Dave. Olivia. Say hi, Olivia.
Hello.
You all right, Olivia?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh. She's giving you a dose of the sexy voice, guys. She's giving you a dose
Just
of
a
the
dose.
sexy voice. I do want to thank a few people. I do want to thank the Beauty Bar in DeForest, Wisconsin. Hair, nails, and cocktails. You could check them out on the web at beautybardeforest.com. 608-842-0667. Horns and Halos Films. hornsandhalosfilms.com. The horror flick Banjo, from which I understand is going to be in production really soon. Really soon. Very excited about this. And as always, we're recorded here in this great spot. Bands, musicians, anybody, everybody. Sounds Studios. Make sure you contact them to book some time at 573-979-7137. And soundsstudios.com is the website to find out more. Now, we are changing it up now for the music, now getting into the film end of it. I met this guy. I know that we always saw each other. We never really spoke to each other because I can't say where, but I go to a place where I get my groceries, and I spend a lot of time getting a lot of tea and coffee on like such a regular basis. When you get to that certain age, you're like spending time getting a lot of coffee and getting a lot of tea. I fully become my parents, and that really scares me. But anyway, got to meet a really cool guy. Awesome guy. I'd like to introduce Trent Kelsey to IMME. Thanks a lot for taking the time.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, now Trent is independent director, filmmaker. And if you kind of want to give our audience a little bit more of a back history on you and talk about what made you want to, pursue this, to do film. I mean, if you guys happen to see his stuff, and I know he'll mention it too, this guy here is, I'm sorry, I'm going to swear, fucking phenomenal what I saw. And I guarantee you folks, you're going to see some great things from him, man, later on. I really could see that happening from what I saw.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Dave. That means a lot to me.
But why don't you talk a little bit about what got you into film and stuff, and what excited you to want to do this, to pursue this?
Well, I mean, like a lot of kids growing up, I mean, I was really into film, Star Wars, Spielberg, all that kind of thing. And I came from a kind of a more rural background. I was kind of the one guy in my class who said one day I want to grow up and go to Hollywood and make movies like Spielberg and George Lucas and all that. And so I graduated class of 2020, total shutdown, all that kind of thing. And so my option at that point was the kind of local community college. And there I got a job working in the theater department, working tech. And I gained some experience from the theater side. And then once I transferred to Southeast Missouri State University, enrolled in the film program, and just kind of took that kind of small town backyard camcorder kind of filmmaking with me. And then I started learning, the more real like technical aspects of it. And I got together with a group of students that I really liked, I really gelled with, and we just started making movies. And then I made my directorial debut probably about a year and a half ago now. It was a 2-year process from writing, pre-production, and then, production, post-production, and then eventually it played at the school's festival.
Now, it said to you as I was reading on you that you won an award for one of your movies.
Yeah, so at the Fault Line Film Festival at SEMO, my film Punching Judy won the Best Comedy Award.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that in just a second. Now, getting back, you said what? I got to ask this because I'm a diehard Star Wars fan. I grew up on that. I mean, you're talking when I was a little kid going in 1977 to see the original Star Wars film back in the day. What's your favorite film? Which Star Wars movie do you like? What's your favorite?
Does it have to be a Star Wars, or does it have to be like just like my favorite film in general?
Actually, we'll just say that your favorite film in general. What's your favorite?
So my favorite film is The Prestige. Christopher Nolan, directed it. It has stars Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Scarlett Johansson. I don't know if either of you are familiar with it. But yeah, it just kind of has that. There's so many aspects of that film that I love, particularly, what it has to say about kind of devoting yourself to your art in a way that like kind of carries over into how you live your life and the sacrifices that you make towards that.
Let's go ahead. I do want to talk about Punching Judy. I saw the film, and I have to say I loved it, man. It was just there is a scene in there. You should know this too, Olivia. There was a scene in there where they were all like, they did something and they were like tripping out. It was like the most hilarious scene. And you can kind of walk through how this project came forward to you and what kind of got the ball rolling on this. And did you have any part as far as the storyline and stuff like that to how it was done?
Yeah, so not only am I'm mainly focused on film, but I'm also a big music fan, particularly, alternative and punk kind of rock music. And so I wanted to do something in that scene because me and my dad especially were very into, media history, whether it's, behind the scenes of filmmaking or backstage and, rock bands and that kind of thing. And so I thought it would be interesting to kind of set it in that world. And since it's going to be a smaller scale production, I thought it would be interesting to set it in the world of like, the local music scene, dive bars, that kind of thing. And so I had the setting, and then I kind of combined some story elements that I had, because I'm always coming up with ideas. And so I just write them all in a notebook. And then if they combine it into something that kind of bookends really well, that's where the script basically came from. And I also thought it would be a good opportunity for not just comedy, but like awkward, realistic comedy. Like it placed in the comedy category, but I would say it's more of like a situational, feels very real kind of like if you were in that situation, you wouldn't laugh, but watching it as an unaffected observer, you see the funny side of it. And so that's where the story came from. That's where the setting came from. And obviously being in, Cape Girardeau, that it lends itself to a lot of local businesses that I can, just knock on the door and say, hey, we're some young filmmakers. Would it be cool if we shot a scene here? That kind of thing. And we were really lucky to, collaborate with Scout Hall and Spectrum Record Lounge and Shivelbein Music Store. They actually provided the instruments and the equipment, free of charge, just for like on the day kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of a very like a well-rounded kind of the pieces fell together for this kind of story. Cause you have to write to what you have available to you. And I wanted to write something that I have what's available to me, but also I can kind of think outside the box and kind of look at my surroundings in a very like specific way and just kind of see what will help me achieve that type of vision.
I do want to ask you the one scene. I mean, I think you and I talked about this before we interviewed you. The scene where they were tripping out, man, what was the deal with like crackers and all kinds of weird...
Right.
Was it a lot of fun shooting that scene, or?
It was. So I would say that the reason, if the movie works for any reason, it's the cast that we were able to accumulate.
No, incredible cast you had.
I tried to develop a kind of a strong relationship with, people in the theater community, so I could really like I basically sat down and I wrote the script thinking like I know this person could fill this part really well. And so when it came to that scene in the script, there's really nothing very descriptive. It's, the guys, they take this whatever it is, we never really specify, and then they just kind of go nuts. So at that point I really trusted my actors, and we improvised that whole scene. And I had some random stuff that I had gotten from like, just little like stores, little trinkets and things like that, and like puzzles and crackers and whatnot. And so we set up the shots in a specific way, but whenever it came down to the performance and what happened in the scene, I left it open to the guys to be like, okay, let's go nuts. This is where we really get to like find the characters and see what they would do in this scenario. And yeah, they really had a ball with it, and I'm very happy with how it turned out.
Now, as far as the actors and stuff that were in the movie, were these, like you said, people from theater that you kind of know that were in the movie, or? Yeah,
these were students, mostly students. We had a few parts filled in just because of like my cinematographer actually knew the guy who played Ronnie in the film, and he thought that he would be a perfect fit because he just kind of has, he has the look, he has the cadence, he kind of feels like he fits that world, and he is like a very good like bass player in reality. But other than that, yeah, these were people that I knew like, on SEMO's River campus. And they didn't bring what I was trying to avoid, and this is kind of in my personal opinion, kind of a pitfall of many student films whenever you're sourcing from people from a theater background, is I wanted to avoid that kind of theater presence, playing to the back row. I wanted it to feel real, grounded, like these are real people, and they accomplished that wonderfully.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that, when I've seen a lot of independent movies and even films, that you can tell that everybody's having fun, and it shows the good relationship, and it shows like in the film or on the, what you were doing, man. Like I said, it was really enjoyable to watch, and I thought it was funny. Even my wife checked it out, and she wanted to compliment you. She really liked it.
Oh, well, tell her I said thanks.
What are some other films you've done previously before this one?
So Punching Judy is my, I've done like projects for class and things like that, but in terms of like films that I would say I've directed, Punching Judy is the first. But becoming a part of this local community has given me a lot of opportunity to work on other people's projects. Recently, I've been filling the role as director of photography for a lot of students' films, and that's helped me learn more about like the technical camera side of it. And so that's been a great process that I've learned a lot from. O3 Media, who produced Punching Judy, that was actually one film of, I want to say either 4 or 5 that they produced in that single semester, and they all played at the festival. And these are students my age who have started their own production company, still have yet to graduate, and yet they have kind of built this prolific career already, working with, up and comers like ourselves. And yeah, so I've worked on multiple O3 Media films. I've got to know lower classmen who have come in since I've kind of neared graduation, and I've got to help them with their films. And there was a project that I worked on in St. Louis, and so yeah, it's just like I really tried to make an effort to put myself out there because, like people aren't going to be knocking on your door unless they know who you are. So I've been very lucky in that regard.
Do you have any future projects that you're working on right now that you could maybe say or tell us?
Yes. So I am still working on a future project that is more in like the sci-fi noir kind of category.
Okay.
And the reason it's kind of taken me longer since Punching Judy is because I can become very obsessive when it comes to, getting it the way that I would like it to be. Exactly. So I want to kind of harken back to a more, well, like, the original Star Wars, where a lot of it is practical effects. It's movie magic, essentially. And so I've been learning different things like prop building, Blender animation, all that kind of stuff. And this is all stuff that, like, post Punching Judy, I had no experience in whatsoever. So I had to kind of start fresh. and learn those things. And because I really want it to all come together in a very like well-rounded way. I think being well-rounded is where I feel like if the project is worth putting out there.
Is it pretty easy as far as like writing or getting ideas to take out of your head and put onto paper? I do know writing stuff for, the show, like for me, some days it's easy to put something together. Other days it's like, do you ever get like a blank, or, I mean, do you just like take a little notepad or whatever and just start making notes if you get ideas and stuff in your head? Or
I would say, funny enough, the hardest part is just being able to break away to write down things, because I take from real life. Almost everything in Punching Judy is either something that I got a little sense of or I experienced in real life. I'm not sitting at the desk thinking like, okay, what's my movie about? What's the first scene? What's the second scene? I'm going through life. Like I said, I can't stop. I can't sit still. So I have to break away once I see something and kind of jot that down, because I know it could potentially go somewhere interesting if we explore it in a different way. So I'm not really the type to kind of sit down and try to figure it out. I try to go out there and pull from real world experience, and because like ideas that they sometimes they come from the subconscious, but a lot of times it's more about like, well, you could have thought of it, but you wouldn't have thought of it unless the right pieces aligned and you saw things in a certain order that gave you an idea like, that could be interesting.
I got to ask this too, especially with a lot of films coming out. Do you have like what is like literally the worst movie that you've ever seen in the theater, that you've walked in, saw a movie, and you walked out going like, oh my God, I can't believe I saw this. Why?
I would have to say from recent memory, the worst film that comes to mind, and not only the filmmaking, just like everything about it, what it represents, how it was made, would be the recent Amazon War of the Worlds film with Ice Cube. Because you go back to like, was it 2005, 2007 Steven Spielberg War of the Worlds, and they're out there, running around getting attacked by this, galactic threat or whatever, and then Amazon, of course it was, during COVID times, but they saw an opportunity to like sit Ice Cube at a desk, film him with a webcam, and be like, okay, this is our movie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, if you've seen it or anything like that, but
I heard about the Ice Cube one. I did originally see the War of the Worlds. I think Tom Cruise was in that, if I remember.
yeah.
That one, I mean, truthfully, I liked. I thought it was good. I really liked it. I do agree with you. Seeing something like that would kind of turn me off. Well, let me ask you this: being a film writer and director, how do you feel about like reboots? All these, even films that back in my day being rebooted and coming back out to theaters again.
Well, I have to say it's the thought process shifts as you get deeper into it, right? So like the easy thing to say as someone who is like if you were to say I'm a self-proclaimed lover of cinema and all that kind of stuff, the easy approach to that is, oh, reboots are garbage. Hollywood's, they're bankrupt. They don't have any ideas, and they're just kind of pumping stuff out factory style for us to gnaw on. But I think that it's healthier to have more imagination in that regard, because there are reboots, sequels that work, and the reason they work isn't because it's something familiar to us. It's because the filmmakers behind it weren't saying, okay, we have something pre-established, they're gonna like it anyway, let's just kind of put out this great value version of whatever. But you have things like John Carpenter's The Thing. You have like the War of the Worlds. That's a remake, not the Ice Cube one, the Spielberg one. So I think I like to look more at the intent behind a project. If it's kind of a faceless studio saying like, give the people what they want kind of thing, that can just kind of pump out this gray mass of a nothing burger of a film. But it's to me, it's all because films are art. So it's all about the artist. It's all about the artist's intent. And I think that it requires more imagination as an artist to be like, okay, I have something that could easily be seen as a cash grab, but let me do my best, see if I can find a new spin on this that sticks with people, because that's all that really matters at the end of the day. Does it stick with people? Does it stand out, not only against, what it's derivative of, but, everything else that's out there. So I just kind of like to look at everything at a base level, and if it seems like a genuine work of art that somebody put their passion into, somebody tried, I just like to go from there and see, well, is it a good movie?
As we're kind of wrapping things up, what, as far as you, moving forward, what type of films do you want to see yourself making as far as?
Well, a filmmaker that I really admire, or I guess I would say two, but one that's a little more relevant, are Stanley Kubrick and Paul Thomas Anderson. And what I like about both of their filmographies is it's great when you find a director who has kind of a consistent voice, because you get more of like what you want. But I really admire how somebody like PTA or somebody like Kubrick is able to try new things while still maintaining that same. They still have their fingerprints on it, So what I want to do is try not to stick to more of the same, explore different ideas, put something out to be like, oh, he's doing that now. Well, let's see what his version of that is. So I've done a kind of a grungy, low budget comedy. I want to move into like a sci-fi noir action even. I would say I'm a lover of genre. I like, most if not all genres. And I think that even if you aren't a fan of like Westerns, for example, Westerns is one that it's kind of on the lower end of like what my taste is, but there are Westerns that defy that just because they are such a good movie on their own. And so I want people to be impressed, and not from a vanity, like, oh, he was able to turn this out of that. And that would make me proud. That would make me feel like at the end of the day, I just want the audience, I don't want to waste their time. I want them to sit down, watch it, and be like, I'm really glad that I was able to experience that.
Well, I do want to thank you for taking time, kick back, talk with us a little bit. And if you want to give a mention to your YouTube channel and anything else you want to tell people to go check you out.
Yeah, for sure. So Punching Judy, among other projects I've done, that will be on my YouTube channel. It's Trent Kelsey Films, Kelsey, Kelsey Films. And then everything that I'm doing after will also be uploaded there, so people can follow me on there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate you taking the time, man. It's been a lot of fun, and I'll be honest with you, I'm excited about the new friendship with you, and I feel very blessed that I finally kind of spoke up and got to know you. I never would have known this about you, and I definitely said before, I see a bright future ahead of you. You are probably one of the most impressive, filmmakers, writers that I've ever come across, new to the business.
Well, I'm really glad you think so, and I guess good things are coming. That's all I'll say. As
long as we get to come to the big premiere later, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right,
Sorry, Olivia.
You're fine.
You have a question?
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, with the passion that he has with it, obviously.
You got to have the passion with what you do. You got to love what you do, and keep at it.
A lot of people lose that. So it's like I said, with the passion that he has and everything, he'll go far.
Yeah, I'll sell my car before I sell my camera.
There you go.
I'll walk.
All right, man. Thank you so much. And keep on following us, IMME, on Facebook. And check out the YouTube channel, IMME, Independent Music, Movies, and Entertainment. Subscribe. Olivia, Dave, Trent, and the whole Brady Bunch, thank you so much. Have a great time. Keep supporting independent guys like this one and independent music artists. Talk to you soon. Thanks.